I think we're good to go.
All right. Sweet ass.
I got my subtle tea.
Got your subtlety.
It's so good, man. This one's the other one was peach. This is blood orange.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! It's a
Oh,
boy. It's a boy.
it's there we go.
Okay.
Dorks Down Under.
Okay, right, we're good to go. Right now, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. This is Nate said this. Yeah, this is Dog Said Down Under. I went into the wrong YouTube channel there for a
I
second.
was gonna
Sorry,
say,
Hell.
he's like we're dorks. We got heads.
Oh,
And we're down under.
right.
gonna-
Okay, forget it. It's you know what? It's been one of those weeks, and thank God it's been one. I'm done this week. Anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is season 3, episode 30. Now, this one's actually 30. The last one was 29 because I'm an idiot because I can't count properly. But anyway,
I must say though, I was looking through all this stuff and I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. Why? I'm pretty sure I haven't got 29. If this one's 30, and I'm like, oh my god.
Honestly, it was just one of those things, and I was like, I think I just got to the point and I gave up. But anyway, so hello, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure you do like, share, subscribe. It always does help. This week we're going to be discussing two things. We're going to discuss the Transformers 1 movie because I went to see that with my son. I've got thoughts and feelings on that movie. Thoughts and feelings. And the second thing I want to discuss is something that is very dear to the child in me. But it's also, we know that Dez is very popular with it, which is we want to discuss the Mr. McMahon documentary that's currently on Netflix.
I haven't watched that, and I just can't bring myself. So you talking about this is going to make me either watch it or tell it to fuck off.
It's oof. You will watch it. You will watch it. I'll tell you that. Anyway, but before we get to that, how's your week been, Des?
Yeah, better than that. I had a little bit of a stress. My boss, so I've officially handed my notice because I got a new job officially, which made
Awesome.
my boss shit his pants, quite literally. So for anybody that doesn't know, my company is currently going through a massive restructure. They've pretty much told us that they're going to get rid of quite a few people. I think of the 2,100, it's about 900 they're trying to get rid of. So it's about a 1 in 2 chance I'm staying. And as we've spoken about, I bought a house, so I'm like, I need to be able to make sure that I'm looked after. Not a problem. And then all of a sudden it was like, and blah. So I was like, I'm going to start looking. Like, what can it hurt?
Yeah,
and
good.
It actually has worked out quite well because I sent out two resumes and got offered 2 jobs.
Fabulous. That's what you want to see.
So I was like, sweet. So
bang for bang. There you go. Job done, son.
That's what I reckon. So I was like, cool.
Yeah. Oh, this gig is easy.
That's what I reckon. I'm like fucking walk in the park. I don't know what all you. No, I'm joking. I got super lucky because one of them was a role that I went through. Actually, weirdly, one of them was a role I went for when I first got this job, and I ended up missing out to an internal person. Interviewing this time, they actually told me that the internal person within 3 months wanted to then go to 4 days a week. Then he was only ever working from home, and he was just getting to the point where he was unbearable, to the point where they've restructured and pretty much got rid of his role.
Right.
Which is kind of fun. And then the other one was Crown Casino, which I got the day I got this one and decided to choose the one I'm at now. So technically I'd interviewed for both of them, so
Okay.
It happens.
Cool. Well, that's honestly well done. Very proud of you. Congratulations. And at least it's not affecting the house. That's the main thing. That's the main thing, brother.
Then I also bought solar yesterday for the house.
Oh yes. No, I did see your message on. I did not. You wasn't a message. I saw your post on Facebook asking for options and opinions and all that jazz.
Man, it's a fucking nightmare. So like, I put a thing out and I'm just like, listen. There's a website you can go to and you're just like, yeah, and it'll send you quotes. And I got like 11 quotes.
Yeah.
Almost every single...
And most of it's all technical jargon that you're like, I have no idea what I need.
Like, I know a little bit about tech and I know how to read some of the specs. But the problem is I'm like, I don't actually know how much of the specs is China telling me these are the specs and them actually being the specs. And I must say, I was like, oh my God. And then every single inverter was different. Every single solar panel was different. I'm like, what the bloody hell? Like, how is this?
Yeah, surely it should be pretty standard. Like most tech should be pretty standard.
You'd think so.
solar,
So
yeah.
luckily there was one that showed up in 3 of the 11 that I had, but then a lot of the inverters were all different and stuff. So I was like really confused. I put that post up, and I must say, massive shout out to my friend Beck, who I love dearly. She lives in Goulburn in New South Wales. And she was like, well, I've worked for a solar company for like 5 years. Send us the quotes. Let me know. So I sent her all the quotes. I said, listen, if your company can do it down here, like if they're national or something, I'm like, I'll just get you guys to do it because I trust you, Beck. And she's and you wouldn't work for a company that's like that. And she's like, well, and she gave us a few pointers, like looking for people with multiple years of business. So the one I've got has, I think, 10 years of business. It's got a 4.9 rating off almost 900 reviews.
Sweet, great.
And then it was more about, and there was a few like that, but then it was more about the panels and stuff. And she's like, these are the panels we actually use. And I was like, sweet. And the cool thing is they're called Tiger Neo. I'm like, whoa. They kind of sound badass.
Tiger Neo. What, that's pimping up solar panel to a Tiger Neo.
Yeah. I know, it's like 10 shades of stupid, but I'm like, I'll take it.
Oh, God, that's mental.
So I'm like, I'll take it. It sounds ridiculous, but I kind of love it. So I was like, sweet. And then, and then the inverter that they use was very similar to the one they use. And looking at all the specs and stuff. So she actually gave it to her boss, and her boss is like, get him to get this one, or this one. This one here, the price is slightly better. This one's here. And then, as I was doing that, I saw the one that I was doing ran a special for a $500 off if you book this weekend. And I messaged the dude. I'm like, just FYI, so I'm thinking of going with you guys. Can I still get this special? He's like, well, technically, if you sign up today, you would. So I got an additional $500 off.
Sweet.
And then they sent me all this stuff, and then I had to actually go in to get my rebate from the government. And normally it takes between 10 to 15 working days. And because a lot of my information was in the system because of my land tax and different things like that, they went, oh, yeah, we know who you are. We know that you've already done it. Boom. 3 minutes. It was done. I was like, so it just went straight through. And then they called me like, we can install solar today. I'm like, I haven't got the property yet, so you might have to wait for that.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
is it still looking end of October? Still? Yes, but that's what we like to hear. That's no, I'll keep my fingers crossed, brother.
Maybe, yes. In theory, don't know. Like
in theory, oh yeah, no, trust me, I know the difference in theory. Don't worry, I know exactly what it's like.
So I'm very much hoping it is, just because I want my new office pretty much more than anything. I'm just being slack, and I just want my new office.
No, we know, brother, we know. But anyway. Good to hear about your week. My week's just been mega busy with work, sort of thing. I've been lots of early starts and going on, and Elle was doing a night shift the other night, so I had to work from home because it's school holidays and we have to look after our child. Yeah. And we've got luckily next week though he's in Amdram classes. There's this like theatre near where Elle works, and they're doing a big like week's worth workshop sort of thing of different things. And I was like, yeah, I've passed it, so we signed them up to that. Because it just makes life simple. But anyway, beyond that, I'm looking forward to it. I've got a mega week coming this week because we've got the managers' meeting, so I'm busy. Now, what are we going to discuss first? Would you like to discuss wrestling first or TF1?
I was going to say I was just watching some of this week's. I was just watching some highlights from what was it? Judgment Day? No, Bad Blood. Which is the latest pay-per-view that just came out with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre going into Hell in the Cell, which from the looks of things, I haven't actually watched that part of it yet, but I've seen a few clips, and both of them are sitting there just with blood covered their face. I'm like, oh. So I'm really in the mood for that.
Right, in that case, then we're going to discuss the documentary first. So what happened was literally this week I've been trying to chill out as much as I can, on my relaxing time and all that jazz. I even signed up to Crunchyroll now, so I've signed up to that. Fine, I pulled the trigger because my totally legitimate website I use for anime is gotten so bombarded by ads, I'm getting annoyed. So I was like,
really? Actually, no.
Obviously,
Cherish was saying that today. Whatchamacallit? Prime now has ads all the way through it.
Yeah.
And you got to pay like an extra $3 or $4 now to get it off.
It was just doing my nut in, and I was like, you know what? I think now's the time for me to pull the trigger, because I've been looking at Crunchyroll for ages now, and I'm like, it's actually not that bad for a year fee sort of thing. You know, I'm paying less than I pay for Disney sort of thing, and I don't use Disney as much sort of thing. I'm actually thinking of chucking it at some point.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway, so of course, so it was like at the time it was like number 4 on the most watched in New Zealand, and it was Mr. McMahon, and I was like, oh, what's that? So I click on it, and it says, oh, it's a revealing documentary of the history of Vince McMahon and the wrestling industry, and I was like, great, because originally, we've discussed this before at some point in the podcast, I'm sure we did, where like when I was a kid, I used to watch obviously like Jake the Snake, Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania. I was there for that, and I loved that when I was a kid.
I'm going to see little Jordan with a fake massage just doing this.
Oh no, it was just because there was the action figures and all that jazz. I really enjoyed it, and then I drifted away from wrestling, and then I came back at the Attitude Era with Stone Cold. Stone Cold is my wrestler. He was my guy, and then I was bitten by the bug from then. So that was when I was about 13, 14, and I was bitten by the bug badly, and up until once I discovered that girls weren't into wrestling, and then sort of you cut ties.
So that's my problem. Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. So it was kind of one of those things. So the fact is that there was a documentary. I thought, because I enjoy documentaries a lot of the time, and it's like, oh, there's 6 episodes. For Belter, great, sort of thing. And they actually do go all the way back to when Vince started with the company.
Oh wow!
Because his old man had it, and then his old man took him. He was living with his mom and blah 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 at a trailer park, and then basically his old man brought him back and all this jazz, and it was quite good. And just seeing a young Vince McMahon, and he's doing everything from commentary to this to that sort of thing, and he was a horrible commentator, I'll tell you now. He's trying to comment on a match and all this jazz. It was just really bad. But it was just cool sort of seeing all these, all the old wrestlers. He's like, oh my God, there's Jake the Snake, there's the Pied Piper, and all this.
Oh man, that would have been sick. That's one thing I'd love doing. I can't remember. One of the favorite things to do is, as a kid, was go get 5 weeklies, and 9 out of 10 times it would be old WrestleManias. Yep. I love the Survival Series where you actually had like teams of 5 of like the top wrestlers. And I was like, oh my God, I love it so much.
But yeah, so he ended up. The one thing they do state quite clearly at the very first episode, saying that majority of the interviews were done before all the bad allegations came out about Vince McMahon, like all the really really bad ones. Obviously, they cover it throughout the entire documentary about the amount of times they've been sued for various things and all this jazz. But it's just. When all the serious allegations came out about Vince McMahon, there was, I think it's in the last episode, there was only a handful of interviews left.
Yeah.
And you've then got, it's funny how some people have really changed their tune because they're so dedicated to them. And then suddenly it's that last episode, you're watching it and they're talking about, obviously, the more recent stuff. And then they're like, "Yep, no." I said, "I can't really talk because I don't want to. I don't want to answer that question." He's like, "Ooh, that's interesting. So what's he got on you?"
Yeah, no. I must say though, that's one of the reasons is that and the worst thing is there's been allegations for years, and he does seem like a very narcissistic kind of man. Like even the way that he ran things, like. If he couldn't get anything out of you, you were 10 shades of useless to him.
It's one thing that's really funny, right? Because obviously. I got back into it in the Attitude Era, so I never liked any of the McMahons because they were the company, and it was all about Stone Cold, flipping it to the man and all that jazz. So that's really, but it's really funny how, like one of the episodes, so one of the really late WrestleManias, I think it was like one of the recent ones, Shane comes back out.
Who does?
So, because Shane left the company, Shane McMahon, his son, he left the company, but he came back for a WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and he was coming out and doing his stuff with his little moves as he's doing the entrance music, and I was like, I hate him. But then his boys come out, his little 3 sons, and he said, "Oh, that was such a sweet moment because obviously his 3 sons came out and they're helping him and doing the same moves." I was like, "Oh, that's cool," because I'm a dad now. So I was like, "God damn, I still hate him though."
Like it's cute, but you're still like, "Fuck you, McMahon."
But I was saying to Elle, because Elle watched some of the episodes with me, and she was like, why is it the boys like this? I said, well, basically, no, I'll tell you now, El, it's the same thing, right? Okay, because this is Coronation Street, okay? But this is Coronation Street
With
peddled,
violence.
peddled to boys specifically, because if you were to ask a boy do you watch soap operas? Go, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But if you say, oh, did you catch Monday Night Raw? Oh my God, I cannot believe so-and-so did that to so-and-so. And suddenly boys become gossiping
100%.
older women.
Unfortunately, 100%.
It is. It's just really funny now to think of it. But if you had said to me, as a 13-year-old, of why you don't watch soap opera, but you're watching Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I'll be like, no, of course it's not. What were you on about?
It's not the same thing because technically it goes for like 3 hours.
Yeah, but it's just really funny. It just cracked me up for watching it. But yeah, I have to say, documentaries are good, especially when you start getting to because they obviously explain all the different eras that were occurring. So there's the very beginning, and then obviously we've got the Attitude Era, and it's like you got the introduction, and he talks about all the different wrestlers and when they've come and gone, and they went over to WCW, and the WCW was screwing over the WWE, and blah blah blah. It's really quite cool. Sort of thing. And then I think I ended up Eddie watched half an episode with me, and I said, "Oh, come watch this. You might actually enjoy it." And he was like, oh, "No, it looks boring." And then he started he then saw people smashing with chairs. He's like, "This looks quite cool." And I was like, "Yeah, I thought it might look quite cool."
You better believe it, buddy. You better believe it. But that's the thing that's weird though, is that it's one of those things that even now, like I won't probably watch every single day. But what I do tend to watch is a lot of the pay-per-views. And there's there's a site on Twitter that is absolutely amazing. And what it does is it will post like little GIFs throughout the entire day. So if there's an event on, it will actually post like little GIFs of the Raw. So you get to see a lot of the cool things that happens and stuff like that. So it's just enough to get you caught up with some of the storylines. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was. I'm about to say, when you just watch him throughout this documentary, you just see him like the entrance music, and I'm like, yeah. Hearing Stone Cold's glass break bit, and I'm like, yeah.
There is nothing better than that same thing. Like, I remember at school, I can't remember what happened. I think a bird flew into a window or something, and the glass shattered. And all of a sudden, all me, Mobsy, Tonga, and a few of the guys all started just like humming the theme music of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and everyone was just like looking at us strange. I'm like, it makes sense in our head. Leave us alone.
Yes, leave us be. Yeah. Oh no, trust me. I've funnily enough, I've been listening to him on Spotify ever since I watched this documentary. It's like save a couple. Here we go. Here's a couple of my favorites. But yeah,
it's always weird because also at Arc quite regularly, Dan's like, "Oh, can you just play a song quick to get everybody to come here?" And then as soon as he says it, before he gets a chance to go, but not all of a sudden you hear Bushaka 6-1. I'm like, go you little Rey Mysterio motherfucker! I love that little dude.
Oh, Rey Mysterio. Yeah, no, some of them about like my favorite wrestlers growing up. Obviously, I was Stone Cold. I was Stone Cold's boy. I loved Kane. Kane. It was really funny. I like Kane, but not the Undertaker. I don't know why.
Really weird. I like the Undertaker because I grew up with him. But my favorite wrestler, still to this day, and as I said, I got to meet him a little while ago, was Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, Bret the Hair. Yeah, they go into that entire thing about the Montreal Screwjob and all that jazz as well. Oh, honestly, it was so good. Some of the stuff, but obviously, I also like Chris Jericho because I was there for when Y2K the big reveal. No, sorry, Y2J the big reveal and all that jazz. So I got behind Chris Jericho from that.
I mean, I feel like Jericho was just a fucking wish version of Bret Hart.
Yes,
he was so badly like that. The only difference was, and I think this is why McMahon let him get as far as he did, was that he would showboat a bit more, and he would allow McMahon to actually make him look more like an idiot than Bret Hart would let him. But I'm like, man.
But I'll tell you one thing: I can't stop singing HBK's intro. I know I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I can't help but sing that. I keep singing it around the house.
I loved him at the Rockers with Marty Jannetty. But then watching him fucking do the Montreal Screwjob, that fucked me off to high heaven. Like, still to this day. there's a lack of respect there for that motherfucker.
Oh, so maybe you shouldn't watch this documentary. You might get a bit angry while
man.
watching it. But yeah,
it
honestly,
was just a joke. Like, I know those two made up and stuff, and even Bret Hart said they made up. But just the way it was handled, the way it was done, it was fucking horrific.
Yeah, well, God, they even pulls up. They even discuss when Corey Hart died about and all that jazz, and and obviously, the fact that because Brett was positive, it was Vince's way of getting around to getting back at Brett and all this jazz, and it was like, I can see why you think it, brother. that's bad for business. He would never do that, but I can see why you think it.
But what's weird too, though, is supposedly that skit was meant to be done for Brett, and he didn't want to do it. So then they got Owen in.
Yeah,
and then obviously
this is when Brett's at WCW when Corey died.
Oh, I meant when Owen Hart died. When Owen Hart died,
it was Owen Hart.
Yeah, where he fell from the top rope.
Yeah. From the scaffolding, the rafters.
Yeah, supposedly that was originally meant to be an entrance for Bret Hart years earlier, and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
because he didn't. He thought it was too dangerous, and he even told Owen, "Please don't. It's dangerous as fuck."
Yeah, no, God forbid. Yeah, so they go into all that, which is good. But yeah, and then they talk about all the other various things. But yeah, highly recommend it though. It is really good. It is really cool. Now, I'm going to leave that there because I want to discuss Transformers 1 because I've got opinions on some of this movie. Right. First things first, what I'm going to say is, right, animation style, really good. Like it. Okay? It's very cool. It's very clean, very crisp. Everything else.
Still...
We even get to see a bit about Primus in this, which is quite cool as well. You actually get to see they show this animation and you actually get to see a bit of Primus, which is cool. They don't discuss Unicron in anywhere. That irked me a little bit because I don't understand how you can talk about Primus but not Unicron. Anyway.
But you were also randomly okay with fucking whatchamacallit, Optimus Prime being Australian.
Right. Okay. Right. I was just going to say this. Right. Okay. Do I want Peter? Oh God, I lost his last name now. Who's Optimus Prime normally? Peter
Wellen, is it? No.
Peter. Is it Peter Wellen? It is. What is it? Hang on.
I've forgotten.
2 seconds. I've forgotten as well. It is. His name is. Where you at? Peter Cullen. There we go. Cullen. Wellen. Close. Peter Cullen. Now, Peter Cullen is my Optimus Prime, and he always will be. Okay. I understand though that you can't. He's not going to be the fact is he's getting on a bit now, and he said that he doesn't want to put his voice to AI to allow it's not like James L. Jones and everyone else who's done it, sort of thing. So, which is fine. And I understand the reason why I do it. It's not the fact that he's Australian. I understand the way this storyline went is they're trying to basically unify the old Gen 1 lore and the more modern day Michael Bay onwards lore. They've found this nice middle ground story that kind of works.
He says that, but it's still kind of like weird. Like, "G'day, mate. I'm Optimus Prime." You're like,
it's not quite that strong of an accent, but yeah, you can hear the twangs here and there in it. I have to say, Brian Tyree Henry, as essentially who is D16, aka Megatron.
Yeah,
his voice is really good for it. I quite like his voice for it, sort of thing. It really genuinely works, and I think going forward it would be really sweet. What? Having Keegan Michael Key as B127, aka Bumblebee, that was a bit too much. God, it just kept. The fact is that he kept talking, and they make it out as a joke as well. So they end up getting captured at one point, and he's had his thing riveted because he keeps talking. He said, "Why has it been silenced?" He's like, "Because he wouldn't stop talking." He said, "I thought he said he was knocked out." Yeah, he wouldn't stop talking.
I'm just waiting for him to go, "I'm Bumblebee," and then he's like, "Westchester University, bumbadee, bumbadee," and then it's like that's what I'm waiting for. I'm like, God, no.
I love that. That is one of my favorite Key and Peele skits. Is the entire NFL introduction. That is That is hilarious.
But what's weird though is if you've ever watched American football, especially college football, they actually do that, like with the draft and different things like that. And some of the names are 10 shades of ridiculous. But I must say, when they've done it, it's just ridiculous times 100. Like, and it just works.
Yeah. So, yeah, in terms of the storyline's quite good, especially because they talks about primes and you got Sentinel Prime and all this jazz and blah 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 and and all that jazz. The storyline itself's quite good. One thing I will say, I loved the look of the Quintessons. Now, obviously, because you see the Quintessons ship land and you see all these robots come out, and they're the new Sharkticons. They look really cool.
I must say, I love Sharkticons. They were cool.
I love Sharkticons. They got done bad in the movie, all right? Okay.
Yes.
In this new movie, they look really good. And you get to see what I believe is a Quintesson. Well, I actually think it's not a Quintesson, is the commander that you see, sort of thing. I think it's because do you remember the original movie? And there was that Quintesson who wasn't one of the turny head ones with the the five personality. It was the one who talked like normally. He was like the judge. He was like the prosecutor, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Have you reached a decision, guilty or innocent? Innocent. Yeah. I actually thought that he's that guy. Because obviously they have set this up for there's easily a trilogy in this.
Yeah.
Easily, the way they've done the storyline.
Here's a question though. Do you find it annoying now with a lot of films where you can tell they've set it up especially for trilogies? Like I feel like right now is movies don't seem to have an ending. They just seem to have a bit where they can kind of stop before they go into the trilogy. And what annoys me, I find sometimes too, is if we never get said second or third movie because it does pants, you kind of have this weird open-ended movie that just doesn't feel right.
Right. I get where you're going with. I do get where you're going with. This one actually doesn't have it as an open ending. Like it could just end there, sort of thing. But and it would be fine. But you can see how they've, overall you can say, well, the Quintessons are going to come back. So, because all they do with this one, they deal with Sentinel Prime. They didn't deal with the Quintessons. You see the Quintessons, and that's it. And then they've dealt with Sentinel Prime, and then it ends there. Where they've kicked Megatron out with the High Guard, the Hive Guard.
Yeah.
And in one of the cutscenes they become the Decepticons. They stamp themselves and they say, "We are the Decepticons." Cool. And yeah, so the fact is they've set it up easily. You can easily have the second movie be it's the Autobots versus the Decepticons, which would be wrong. It would be better that they did the Quintesson storyline, get that knocked on the head, and then the third one would be Autobots and Decepticons. They fight, and then that what wrecks Cybertron. Then Now, I wanted to discuss something. What was really quite cool is. Because obviously the main storyline is that there's these cogless, originally Ryan Pax D16, Elita 1, B127, they're all what's called cogless bots because they have no transformation cog. And you find out that it's Sentinel Prime to maximize energon production. He's been ripping the cogs out of them from before they come online, so they believe that they're just a subsect. They're an under, like a lower life form and all this jazz. So it's quite cool. But when they obviously get the cogs and do all, and they're able to learn transforming, it's quite funny. So things they've never done transforming before, so they have to learn it all.
But what's
and the
weird
entire
too,
thing
though,
was,
is how do they transform into Earth-like vehicles, never having seen them?
Well, a lot of them because you see a lot of them round the because they do this big race thing, and there's a lot of very similar looking vehicles, but I wouldn't say they look specifically like human. They don't look like human vehicles. Yeah. They're very Cybertronian, but they're not as Cybertronian as in some of the older games that I don't know if you ever played because those ones look really Cybertronian. They were quite cool. With this ones, they don't. They've gone into a nice middle ground. So it kind of looks right. The fact is, as well, I'll tell you now, what really annoyed me is the fact that Optimus Prime can fly. All right, he's got jet boosters in his thing, so he can fly. And I'm like, nah, that's wrong. No.
Bitch, please.
No. He has to have his great big trailer thing, and he has to put these wing things on, and then he's able to fly. Yes, but you shouldn't be able to fly anyway. By the by. But it was quite cool how, like, with the cogless ones, you can see they're pretty much all Autobots, but you can kind of see the looks, and you're like, oh, that's Wheeljack. Oh, that's it. But of course, they don't look like how they're meant to look because when they're cogless, they're not a full height Transformer.
That'd be
sort of
weird.
thing. So the fact is, you can sort of see them, and you're like, "Oh, cool!" And then there's jazz and all that jazz, and there's all those things. And at the end, they all get cogs, and then they become it. And you see Ironhide as well, and all this jazz.
So then here's the question: then how do all of a sudden these best buddies, best mates, then all of a sudden be like, "Oh, now we're sworn enemies randomly"?
Right. So they foreshadow it. Basically, when they discover the Sentinel Prime lied and he's done all the bad things, that's when it breaks. Essentially, it breaks Megatron. Essentially, and they, like Optimus is talking about how we're going to fix things, and then he can face justice, and Megatron's like, "I'm going to kill him," sort of thing, because he feels like he's been lied to the entire time, and blah blah blah, and he's taken it really personally.
Yeah,
and it starts from there, and then as we get into the climax of the film, Optimus gets in the way and tries to stop. Obviously, tries to stop Megatron doing it.
Yeah,
and then of course, but then Megatron accidentally shoots and kills Orion Pax, and then his body falls into Cybertron and all this shit. And then that's when Primus gifts him the leadership in Matrix, and he's like, "Right, yo," and then he remakes him, sort of thing. And he says, "Arise, Optimus Prime." You get to hear Primus speak, which is quite cool.
It is cool, but it just feels like, I don't know. Like, I mean, just kind of feels like you've been done dirty a bit.
It honestly, right, in terms of, right, if I knew nothing about Transformers, if I knew, so if you're brand new, you have no idea of the lore, this movie's good.
But the problem is too, though, is if you decide to then go back and actually watch some of this stuff, then all of a sudden you're going to be like, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that won't make sense. For diehard Transformers fans who know the lore inside out and all this jazz, there is some things that just do not. It's like, oh, they could have done that better, or they should have done this instead. There's lots of things. Like, obviously, we don't see any. You don't get to see any any hints of like Grimlock or the guys, obviously. But what they did is that Alpha Trion, who was one of the primes, his transformation mode is a beast. So he's actually like this great big saber-toothed tiger thing, which is quite cool to see. But I was like, that's how they're going to hit it, because that's how, logically they could easily maybe slot the Grimlock and the boys in on the next run, because everybody's other favorite boy apart from Optimus Prime is Grimlock, because Grimlock is king.
Yeah, I know, but it's just, I don't know.
But yeah, but I tell you what, there was a lot of cool things. One thing I really didn't like is, so the Hive Guard, who basically all become the Decepticons, you can see immediately you can see Soundwave, but he doesn't have any cassettes. He transforms into this vehicle. It's like a car sort of thing, which is all right, but he doesn't have any cassettes. And I'm like, oh, why do you not have, Rumble? And
all of them, like even if it wasn't a cassette, but maybe it's a car, so you've got it as something different. But
yeah, but then you also get to see Shockwave. Shockwave. Yeah. Now, in terms of Decepticons, he's my favorite. All right, not from this movie. The entire lore of Shockwave is that he is essentially the evil Wheeljack.
Yeah.
So he invents all these weapons and all this jazz. He is evil. The things he does, like in the comics, like the things he's done to Autobots to sort of learn the mysteries of transforming and all this jazz. He is sick in the head. He is really thick. But in this one, they do him so dirty. He's like made out to be a little bit of a bitch, and he's like, and I was just so angry about it.
Yeah.
However, Starscream was quite good, because one thing was really quite cool about the Starscream character is, one, it was very much like from the movie. So he was sitting on a throne and all this jazz, and he's acting like the big king and all this jazz. And then, of course, he ends up fighting. Megatron ends up fighting him, and then ends up starting to crush his windpipe. Essentially, his windpipe or his voice box.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it is that suddenly he then afterwards, when he speaks, he's got that high pitched screamy thing, like
that's
like
cool.
you remember. So I was like, yes. So that thing I liked because it went from being this normal, deeper voice, and I was like, oh, it doesn't sound quite right. And then obviously I then got the right sound. I was like, okay, I'm happy now. Thank you.
Actually,
You know?
I actually don't hate that. That's quite good,
Yes.
actually.
So they actually did do some interesting things, sort of thing, but overall, it was some things were a bit of a miss for me, sort of thing.
Like,
Just a few things.
I don't know. Like, I kind of get why they've done it, and I think it's good that they've done it for whatever reason.
Oh yeah,
but...
well, let's be honest. They the fact is, Hasbro are always wanting to peddle the next.
Yeah,
the Transformers is their one franchise that they want to peddle and make more movies.
I know, but it's
because it sells toys now. Oh, it was hilarious when because Edward didn't realize that. Obviously, he knows that Hasbro have Transformers. He didn't realize that he totally didn't sink to him that Hasbro own Monopoly as well, because of course they had this little the beginning of the title credits. Of course, and it gets the Hasbro's one, and they do all these different things that they do. Obviously, you got a Transformer symbol, and then you got the Monopoly dice and all this. Anyway, why don't they make a Monopoly movie? I went, dear Lord, no, Edward. Dear Lord, no, absolutely not. We're not having a Monopoly. I'm not coming to watch the Monopoly movie.
No, definitely not.
I also don't know how you would do the Monopoly movie, but that would be interesting.
I'm like, I love you, kid, but no, just no.
I mean, if you want to do a movie about why Monopoly's destroyed as many families as it has over the years, then that might be a bit more.
That would be something special.
But yeah. But overall, I have to say, good movie. I would say a solid 8.
Fuck off!
No, I'm giving it an 8, but that's because it's actually an enjoyable movie to watch. But I don't know if I'd run out and watch it again. I think I'd wait for it to be free now, sort of thing. I wouldn't go out and pay to watch it again. It's not like the Avengers. When I watched Avengers: Infinity War, I went to see that 3 times. Because I was like, oh my god, it's so good. It's kind of, it was a good movie, but it wasn't, oh my god, I need to rush out and watch it again, because there's loads of things I guarantee I've missed.
I know.
So yeah, so I'm giving it an 8. It'd be interesting to see what you think of it when you watch it. So because you know a lot about Transformers as well, so it'd be quite good.
Oh, I don't know. It's hard to watch that because it just feels a bit weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have to say, the one big plot point that I don't like is essentially the Matrix of Leadership allows Energon to flow on the planet. So when Sentinel Prime betrays everything, Primus deems him unworthy, obviously, and takes the Matrix leadership away, which then stops all the Energon flowing naturally on the planet. So then they've got a mine for it. But my mind was like, since when has the Matrix of Leadership ever had that option and ability? Because that's not right. That can't be right.
Yeah, wait a minute.
It's like,
so what? But the whole reason they crashed and they liked the fact that they stayed on Earth was because they had Energon there. So I'm like, what?
It's literally as long as the Matrix of Leadership is on the planet and it's bestowed to a righteous individual, aka Optimus Prime, Energon will flow from the planet, and all this jazz. It naturally flows, and they don't have to worry about it, and blah blah blah. But of course, when Sentinel betrayed them all, Primus took it away, and therefore the rivers stopped flowing because essentially the surface. They've actually made the surface very. It's actually because they're living in Iacon City, which is a bit below the surface, whereas it's like a big safari park up top, and you get to see some of the deer. There's some deer robots up there, sort of thing. It kind of works and doesn't work. I honestly, you kind of need to watch it, and it's like, actually, I can see that because one of I can't remember which Transformers animations ones, they actually explored Cybertron in that, and you actually did realize there was zones. It wasn't just all a big city. Sort of thing, so that was quite kind of cool to see, sort of thing. But it just kind of didn't work for some things. But yeah, I did really want to see. One thing I did want to see was the great big the Guardians of the Cities. So I can't remember. Metroplex is the big city. It's the other one, and I can't think of his name. And it's really been bugging me for the last hour or so. I'm trying to think of it.
And you haven't Google it?
Guardian of is it Iacon? Iacon. The Knights of Iacon. No.
I'm so confused now. Now I don't even know what it is.
Guardian of Iacon Gen 1. Not the Guardian Knights. No, what is it? It's the Guardian robot. That's I can't remember his name. He was a big. Yes, that's what it is. What's his name though? It was a huge, big thing, and yes, it was in that storyline, and that is Omega Supreme. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
The big one that had a train track, and it was a rocket ship.
I had that toy. Yeah, I had that toy.
It was stupid because he could travel into space, but he leaves the rest of his body behind. But somehow he lands with his body. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway,
that was part of the Omega Sentinels. Yeah, no, I used to have that toy. I was so excited because when you were saying it, I'm like, the only one I can think of, but I don't even know if it's the right thing he's talking about. It's Omega Supreme, and I'm like, but
Omega Supreme. I was like, I know it's Omega something, but I can't think of what, because obviously there are so many bloody Omega characters in Transformers. I can't just say Omega because then he's like, well, which one? Sort of thing.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, it was a yellow and red toy with the train tracks. Yeah, I had that as a kid. I was well excited.
It was the stupidest Transformers design. I mean, but then again, they got away with everything back then, so it kind of worked.
It kind of did. It kind of reminded me of a mixture of if like the Transformers and Grimlock had a baby. It was those kind of colorings, or it was kind of the silver and stuff. But then like I'll throw some red and yellow in there. Like it was just bizarre.
Yeah. No. It would. But yeah. So it was just cool to sort of. I kind of wanted to see that, but they didn't show any of that sort of thing. But it's kind of because they said, "Oh, the Quintessons came 50 cycles ago, and then there was the Great War of it, and blah blah blah." So they're kind of trying to say that it's post-war still from this Great Quintesson War sort of thing. Although Sentinel says that the Quintessons were destroyed and left, and obviously they're not. They're taking all the energon for themselves, and blah blah blah, and Sentinel's mining it for them. So
I don't know. It just feels like they're changing a lot of the backstory and just kind of like we're going to try to reset this up for more toys and more things like that, but it kind of feels a bit half-assed.
Yeah, no, honestly, as I say, they have set it up. Obviously, there's definitely going to be a sequel, obviously. But logically, if there's going to be a sequel, there should be a trilogy. Because that's the way the movie industry works these days. So it's kind of one of those things of I'm interested to see what they're going to do, but I think the storyline for the Quintessons is quite easy to do, sort of thing. They'll have to be the Autobots and Decepticons are going to have to come together to save Cybertron and blah blah. That's obvious, that's easy. But when we get to the third movies, right, and then how do you have this great war start? Because then they're gonna have to come up with something. They'll have to come up with something really ingenious to justify how they're gonna have the third one. So I could easily see the second one, as I said, but the third one, I don't understand how they would sort of do it.
Yeah, it is weird though, because and then the problem is I feel like even if they do that, it's just going to change the way that that Transformers goes, and it's like it's almost like getting rid of all this history, and I'm like, I don't know.
Transformers 1 is already piecing together plans for a sequel behind the scenes. Over the years, we've seen Transformers address every kind of error. Yeah. So we'll get a sequel under one condition. Ooh, what's this one condition? That's interesting. Transformers 1, blah, 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 blah. Critic, no. Wow. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's waffle. Lots of waffle. It doesn't give you the. I wish sometimes the sites would just say, this is the actual thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they already are talking about it. Yeah. So they already are talking about it, sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. But I think they need to see what the box office numbers are doing as well for it, which will be interesting.
Well, I think it made from what I saw it on the other day, and it was like 80 million for its opening weekend. I think it was.
I think they timed it beautifully, given that it's lots of like school holidays for kids and stuff. So they they timed it belter, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Sort of
Okay,
thing.
so
Yeah.
it says here now, following on from the October 1st domestic haul of 876,000, Transformer 1 has surpassed the $40 million mark at the US box office, which combined with the international total of 32, edging the film closer to its all-important $75 million mark worldwide. So,
Okay.
yeah, it looks like it could be doing quite a bit. It could be doing quite a thing, but it looks like it's only just short of the 75 mil.
Okay. Well, well, the studio will obviously review that sort of thing, but it'll be interesting. I'll say it might get greenlit. I'll say it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, that's the
Anyway,
one thing that's always scares me about this is that it just feels like it's just changing a bit too much, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. You're getting rid of stuff for the sake of getting rid of stuff, and it just doesn't feel right.
agreed. No, I know what you're saying, sort of thing. Like, it is just one of those. Sadly, we weren't going to get it wasn't like they were going to give us a remake of the original movie, which is the best Transformers movie of all time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, God forbid, if I could have I just love Orson Welles as Unicron. That's my favorite. That's my favorite voice.
Yeah, I know. I know, but it's just, I don't know. It just, part of me just, I don't know. Yeah. So it looks like worldwide it's done just over 80 million. Which is pretty good overall. It hasn't opened in every country, which is weird.
Yeah, so obviously there's still a few countries to go for it, which will be interesting.
Which is weird because it looks like India, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia. Oh,
it's not released in Japan
no,
yet.
Oh no, this might be just where they've actually got.
Mm.
Wait, where's the original release? No, sorry, it is open in all of them. It just doesn't have their opening thingos yet, sorry. But like, for example, Germany, Hungary, a lot of Europe still hasn't opened. So Austria, Belgium, Czech Republic. It looks like a lot of Europe. It hasn't actually opened in yet. France is not opening until the 23rd of October. Hungary, Germany, what else is there? Lebanon. Yeah, Lebanon probably is not going to get a lot of sales right at this moment.
No, I don't think so, no.
Norway. So yeah, it looks like Scandinavia and a lot of Europe haven't got the opening yet, or especially Eastern Europe. Switzerland, weirdly, Switzerland in German is opening on the 10th of October, but Switzerland in French is opening on the 23rd. So yeah, United Kingdom doesn't get it till the 11th of October.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it's telling me right here. So that's pretty
weird.
huge with the UK not getting it yet, which means it may be delayed for their school holidays or something. I don't know, but
yeah, maybe.
That's a decent sized market where you think it would do quite well. So who knows? I mean, the $80 million worldwide so far is probably not too bad, but
no.
I must say it still feels a bit weird. Like it just
Yeah.
When they said Chris Hemsworth, I'm like, I get that right now he is a very good flavor of the month, but I'm just like, there's also got to be a point where you're like, really, guys? Like, do we have to fucking just because like when we do this with so many actors, like poor Scarlett Johansson had that where she was just in everything. It's like we need an Asian woman, Scarlett Johansson. We need a girl that can be a computer, Scarlett Johansson. We need
but Scarlett Johansson's in this as well.
Oh, is she? Oh, does she play
She's
the
a
bike,
little
the mic? Yeah, the motorbike.
She's Elite Award in this.
Oh my god!
So can you say Scarlett Johansson about you don't even see the casting, have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen it at all. I just knew that he was in it, and I was like, oh my god. But I'm just like, I don't know. Like, part of me is like, I want to see it, but I don't want to see it at the movies. Like, I'm not spending 30 bucks legitimately just to friggin' feel like I've been ripped off. Because that's kind of what it feels like a little bit.
Oh, well. Well, you can watch it from your totally legal website and then tell me what your thoughts and feelings are.
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
On it. Right. Anyway, we'll wrap up right there because I've just realised how long we've been yammering for. I want to say a big thank you to all our recent likes and subscribers. Please make sure you do like, share, and everything else, and leave comments. Also, if you've seen Transformers 1 or the Vince McMahon documentary series, let us know what your thoughts and feelings are on it. It would be quite cool. And yeah, apart from that, stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you very much for joining us.
I know.